Welcome everyone. डुअल डिग्री की मास्टर्स के साथ क्लासेस कब शुरू हो रही हैं? कुछ आइडिया लगा क्या अभी तक? एनी इंफॉर्मेशन रिगार्डिंग दैट?
14 सितंबर शायद।
फाइनल है शायद।
साउथ सर लास्ट टाइम बोले थे कि 14 सितंबर।
हाँ, उन टेंटेटिव तो यही था, बट अभी तक कुछ फाइनली बोला नहीं गया ना। देखते हैं। सिक्स ओनली। अभी भी जैन तो सर क्लास ले रहे हैं लगता है। चलो, जब तक सब लोग आते हैं तब तक तुम लोगों को एक इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ दिखाता हूँ मैं। इसके बारे में किसी ने कुछ देखा है कभी? क्या होता है ये? व्हाट इज दिस डायग्राम अबाउट? कुछ समझ में आ रहा है क्या है? Anyone?
प्रेशर पॉइंट्स।
हाँ,
प्रेशर पॉइंट्स है क्या सर?
प्रेशर पॉइंट्स। ओके। और कोई? और कोई? तो तुम लोगों को एक कहानी सुनाता हूँ मैं। आई विल टेल यू अ स्टोरी फॉर ऑन दिस। तो ये जो फिगर है, ये एक्चुअली वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 के टाइम पे देयर वाज अ स्टडी डन इन फ्रांस। सो उसमें क्या हुआ कि दे बेसिकली प्लॉटेड ऑल द प्लेसेस जहाँ पे देर वर गन शॉट्स। जितने भी प्लेन आ रहे थे उनके पास, आफ्टर फाइटिंग, वहाँ से खूब फाइटिंग करके जो भी एरियल वॉरफेयर हो रहा था, जहाँ जहाँ उनके गन शॉट्स लग रहे थे, उन्होंने कहा कि उसको प्लॉट करते हैं और देखते हैं कौन से एरियाज़ को हमें ज़्यादा रीइंफोर्स करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ऐसे वुंड्स हैं या ऐसा कुछ है। तो जितने भी आ रहे थे वो लोग प्लॉट कर रहे थे, और इंजीनियर्स का उन्होंने बैठाया हुआ था कि भाई ये प्लॉट्स हैं, ये हम लोगों ने ऑब्जर्वेशन किया है कि यहाँ यहाँ गन शॉट्स हैं, गन शॉट के होल्स हैं, और ये प्लेन्स हैं, और अब हम लोगों को जो प्लेन आगे डिज़ाइन करना है उनको रीइंफोर्स करना है। तो अ, अच्छा, अगर मैं तुम लोगों से पूछूं कि अगर ऐसा कुछ सिचुएशन है, राइट नाउ दिस इज़ द सिचुएशन, ऐसा प्लॉट आया है हमारे पास कि यहाँ पे गन शॉट्स हैं, और हमें कहा गया है कि तुम्हें बेसिकली प्लेन को स्ट्रॉन्ग करना है। तो कौन से एरियाज़ को तुम लोग फोकस करोगे? कोई कोई वॉलंटियर करना चाहेगा इस पे कि कहाँ पे हम लोगों को फोकस करना चाहिए स्ट्रॉन्ग करने के लिए? यहाँ पे हम लोग देख रहे हैं कितनी सारी जगह है ना। एक यहाँ पे है गन शॉट्स यहाँ पे हैं, यहाँ पे हैं, विंग टेल पे हैं। तो कौन से एरियाज़ को हमें स्ट्रॉन्ग करना चाहिए? हु कैन कमेंट?
सर फ्रंट विंग्स और बैक विंग्स का जो रियर मोस्ट पार्ट होगा वहाँ पे।
तो मतलब जैसे अगर देखें तो इस एरिया को तुम लोग कह रहे हो, राइट? यहाँ पे
हाँ,
है ना।
ये जो
और ये दोनों का और ये पीछे वाला जो
हाँ
बेसिकली मूव करते हैं ना, जो एरोलॉन्स
हाँ
इसके
सर।
होते हैं, राइट? ओके, और कोई एनी अदर वन हु वांट्स टू गिव कि कहाँ पे ऐसे गन शॉट वुंड्स का अगर प्लॉट है तो कहाँ पे इसको रीइंफोर्स करा जाएगा कि ये स्ट्रांग रहे? कोई और कुछ आइडिया देना चाहेगा? किसके दिमाग में कुछ चल रहा है? कहाँ होना चाहिए इस, अगर ये तुम्हारे सामने प्रेजेंट है?
और सर पायलट के पास भी।
ओके, कोई और? एनीवन एल्स हु वांट्स टू सजेस्ट कहाँ होना चाहिए? ओके, मैसेज आ रहा है कोई, ओके, होल्ड ऑन। कॉकपिट एरिया, या दैट इज ट्रू। कॉकपिट में तो ऑब्वियसली होना ही चाहिए रीइंफोर्समेंट सबसे ज़्यादा। बट बेस्ड ऑन दिस डेटा, इस डेटा को देख के हम लोग किस पार्ट को ज़्यादा वो करेंगे, फोकस किस पार्ट को करेंगे? वो चीज़ तुम लोगों के हिसाब से क्या होनी चाहिए? कोई और आइडिया किसी का? कुछ तो बोलो। अरे ऐसे ही जस्ट वी आर जस्ट डिस्कसिंग एनीथिंग अभी तो, बिफोर वी स्टार्ट एक्चुअल क्लास। सो ऐसे ही किसका आइडिया क्या लग रहा है किसी को?
So the canopy which is above the cockpit, the
यहाँ पे
covering, the outer covering,
आउटर कवरिंग, यहाँ पे एरिया,
center part, yeah,
या दिस वन,
yeah,
जहाँ पे ज़्यादा
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 dot.
पॉइंट्स हैं, राइट? और कोई, और कोई? एनीवन एल्स? किसी के और कमेंट्स, कुछ और तरीके, कुछ और सोच रहा है कोई, किसी और तरीके से हो सकता है या कहीं और रीइंफोर्समेंट करने की ज़रूरत है? सी योर फ्रेंड्स हैव टोल्ड कि एक यहाँ पे, क्योंकि ये मूवमेंट वाले पार्ट्स हैं और यहाँ पे गन शॉट्स ज़्यादा हैं, यहाँ पे करना चाहिए विंग्स के एजेस पे और टेल के एजेस पे। और एक कॉकपिट और कॉकपिट के बेस वाला एरिया जहाँ पे ज़्यादा गन शॉट्स लग रहे हैं, उसको रीइंफोर्स करना चाहिए। और किसी का कुछ सोचना है? कोई और जगह जहाँ पे रीइंफोर्समेंट की ज़रूरत है? नहीं? अब मैं आगे की कहानी सुनाता हूँ सबको, ठीक है? ध्यान से सुनना। जो इंजीनियर्स बैठे थे वहाँ पे, किसी को नहीं समझ में आए अगर अभी मैं हिंदी में ही बात कर रहा हूँ, क्योंकि इट्स जस्ट वी आर डिस्कसिंग ऐसे ही सम फन थिंग ऑफ ऑब्जर्वेशन। तो अगर नहीं समझ में आए तो बताना। बट तो क्या हुआ फिर, द नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द स्टोरी इज कि जो इंजीनियर्स बैठे थे उन्होंने डिसाइड किया कि बेस्ड ऑन दिस ग्राफ जो हम लोगों को मिला है, हम लोगों का मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट एरिया टू रीइंफोर्स कौन से होंगे? वो होंगे ये वाले इंजन्स, ये वाले नोज, और ये टर्रेट के पीछे वाला पार्ट। ओनली दीज 4 पार्ट शुड बी रीइंफोर्स्ड वेरी वेल। अब सबसे मजेदार बात यह है कि यहाँ पे कोई गन शॉट्स नहीं है। बट कैन एनीवन गेस कि ऐसा क्यों उन्होंने सोचा? व्हाट माइट बी द थिंकिंग? सोचो सोचो। द राइट आंसर इज कि सही बात है, रीइंफोर्समेंट हम लोगों को इंजन्स पे करना है और यहाँ पे करना है जहाँ पे एक्चुअली कोई गोली का मार्क नहीं है, एंड दैट्स व्हाट द इंजीनियर्स डिसाइडेड। बट व्हाई? कोई आइडिया दे सकता है कि क्यों हुआ ऐसा? क्यों उन्होंने सोचा ऐसा, जबकि गन शॉट्स तो सबसे ज़्यादा यहाँ लग रहे हैं, रीइंफोर्समेंट कायदे से यहाँ ज़्यादा होना चाहिए, इतना सारा स्ट्रक्चरल प्रॉब्लम्स हो रहा है, राइट? कोई सोच सकता है, कुछ आइडिया दे सकता है क्यों हुआ ऐसा? Why did the engineers think कि यहाँ पे reinforcement ज़्यादा जरूरी है? In the wings, in the engines, जहाँ पे गन शॉट्स दिख ही नहीं रहे हैं, बेसिकली गन शॉट्स है ही नहीं। The data doesn't say anything about gunshots in these regions, and is still they pressurized कि ये वाले areas को reinforce करना चाहिए। बताओ बताओ, सोचो। बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग कंसेप्ट है, बहुत जरूरी कंसेप्ट है। किसी को कोई आइडिया लग रहा है? कोई भी कुछ भी कुछ गेस मारो ना, क्यों हुआ? कुछ भी बोलो।
air drag on that one.
एयर ड्रैग ओके एयर ड्रैग यहाँ थोड़ा सा पुराने टाइप के हैं एयरप्लेन्स यस एयर ड्रैग हो सकता है दैट मे बी द रीजन बट यू डू अंडरस्टैंड राइट कि यहाँ पे ऑल द गन शॉट्स पॉइंट आर दीज रेड मार्क्स एंड स्टिल इंजीनियर्स हैव डिसाइडेड कि यहाँ पे रीइंफोर्समेंट करना चाहिए मतलब एयर ड्रैग तो चलो एक चीज है बट रीइंफोर्समेंट अगर गन शॉट्स पे नहीं करेंगे तो कहाँ करेंगे सो व्हाई माइट दे हैव डन
सर फिर वो सोचे होंगे कि अभी नेक्स्ट टाइम जो प्लेन हम लाइक जो टेक ऑफ करेगा तो उसका स्पीड ज्यादा होगा तो आइदर ये स्पॉट्स पीछे आएंगे नहीं तो आगे आएंगे तो इसलिए वहां पे किए होंगे
नहीं
अभी
नहीं
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 Sir,
हाँ
so I'm Shekhar.
हाँ
So maybe the previous plans which were hit in the right areas are already lost. That's why.
परफेक्ट यू गॉट द पॉइंट सो श्रीकर बिल्कुल पॉइंट पे बोला है क्या होता है ये डेटा कैसे कलेक्ट हुआ है इसके बारे में सोचो जो प्लेन्स लड़के आए वापस राइट उनके ऊपर स्टडी की गई कि वो कहाँ पे उनके बुलेट होल्स हैं बट दैट डेटा डिडंट इंक्लूड एनी डेटा रिगार्डिंग जो नहीं लौट के आए राइट जिनका एक्सीडेंट हो गया जो फेल हो गए जो वहां पे दैट क्रैश्ड दैट डेटा इज नॉट इंक्लूडेड इन दिस so this data is basically saying जो कि survive होके आते हैं प्लेन उन पे कहाँ पे गोलियां लगी and they survived still so the opposite of that will be जो जहाँ जो नहीं survive हुए those are the areas where gunshots are actually fatal right और वो आ ही नहीं पाए वापस this kind of bias जैसे कहते हैं ना कि हम लोग डेटा देखते हैं कोई और फिर कुछ इंटरप्रिटेशन करते हैं कि भाई ऐसा डेटा है और बहुत सी इट्स ऑल्सो अबाउट मैंने तुम्हें स्टोरी कैसे सुनाई तो मैंने तुम्हें इस तरीके से स्टोरी सुनाई कि तुम लोगों ने सोचा ही कि वो गन शॉट्स हैं और उसकी वजह से ऐसा होना चाहिए कि यहाँ रिइंफोर्समेंट होना चाहिए बट श्रीकर कॉट एंड दैट्स व्हाट वी हैव टू सी व्हेन वी डू दिस एनी काइंड ऑफ एनालिसिस ऐसा करके कि एक्चुअल कंडीशन क्या है कंडीशन ये है कि वो प्लेन्स जहाँ पे जो क्रिटिकल एरियाज थे जहाँ पे हिट कर रहे हैं वो वापस आ ही नहीं पा रहे हैं एंड दैट इज द डेटा वी आर सीइंग और उसकी वजह से ही इंजीनियर्स डिसाइडेड दैट कि यहाँ पे रीइंफोर्समेंट होना चाहिए इस पूरे फिनोमेना को एक टर्म दिया जाता है इसे कहते हैं सर्वाइवर्स बायस इसका बड़ा थोड़ा सा सेफर एग्जांपल मैं बताता हूँ जैसे तुम लोग इंटरनेट शॉपिंग करते होगे तो अमेज़न या उसमें फ्लिपकार्ट या किसी में भी जब तुम लोग रिव्यूज़ देखते हो तो रिव्यूज़ में कई जगह ऐसा होता है कि हम लोग काफ़ी ज़्यादा फोकस करते हैं ना कि हाँ भाई इसके अच्छे रिव्यूज़ होने चाहिए इसके ख़राब तो रिव्यूज़ नहीं है लेकिन यू ऑल्सो थिंक कि रिव्यूज़ कौन देता है जनरली अगर जनरल पॉपुलेशन में देखा जाए अगर कोई जस्ट सेटिस्फाइड होगा किसी प्रोडक्ट से कि मैंने चलो एक मोबाइल लिया एंड आई एम ओके लाइक ये अच्छा है ज़्यादा ख़राब भी नहीं ज़्यादा ऑसम भी नहीं है अच्छा है आई वुड नॉट हैव एनी इंक्लिनेशन टू गो एंड गिव अ रिव्यू टू इट राइट मेरा रिव्यू देने का पर्पज़ क्या होगा या तो मैं बहुत ही खुश हूँ उससे लाइक एक्सट्रीमली हैप्पी कि ऑसम है ये तो इतना अच्छा मोबाइल मैंने कभी देखा ही नहीं एंड सो ऑन या तो इतना ख़राब हो कि आई एम नॉट एट ऑल सेटिस्फाइड विद दैट राइट तो इन दोनों एक्सट्रीम कंडीशंस में आई विल गो एंड गिव अ रिव्यू तो ऐसे में इट्स अगेन अ बायस कि एक्चुअल कंडीशन हम लोगों को नहीं पता चल रही है हम लोगों को वही रिव्यूज दिख रहे हैं जो कि या तो एक्सट्रीमली पॉजिटिव हैं या एक्सट्रीमली नेगेटिव हैं राइट तो इस तरीके के डेटा जब मिलते हैं हम लोगों को तो इसका भी एक स्टैटिस्टिकल एनालिसिस बड़ा अच्छा होता है इसे एंड दिस फुल फिनोमेना इज कॉल्ड सर्वाइवर्स बायस तो इवन इन ऑनलाइन कम्युनिटीज़ जो ये वाले हैं दे आर ट्राइंग कि इसको सॉर्ट आउट करा जाए फॉर ऑनलाइन शॉपिंग ऑल्सो वन ऑफ माई फ्रेंड शी वॉज वर्किंग ऑन दिस कि हाउ टू बेसिकली remove this bias or neutralize this bias by certain factors कि जो 3-star or 4-star ratings and that can be accentuated and the extreme ratings that can be mellowed down so that डिफरेंट उसमें आए. अगेन फुल प्रूफ नहीं है कोई भी चीज़. मे बी इतना खराब प्रोडक्ट है एक्चुअली, कितनी सारी खराब रेटिंग्स आ रही हैं एंड सो ऑन. बट द थिंग इज कि एक्चुअली जो डेटा हमें मिलता है दैट इज नॉट अ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव डेटा कलेक्शन, राइट. कि 100 लोगों को दिया और 100 लोगों में से इतने लोगों ने 100 के 100 ने रिव्यूज दे दी एंड सो ऑन. सो ऐसे ही हम लोगों को भी डेटा मिलता है कई बार फील्ड से. जब जैसे अगर स्लोप स्टेबिलिटी का फेलियर हो जाता है, लाइक स्लोप फेलियर हो गया एंड देन द डेटा वी आर गेटिंग, तो कई बार ऐसा होता है जो डेटा होता है दैट इज ऑलरेडी ऑफ अ लोअर कैटेगरी और सो ऑन, कि वो फेल्ड ऑलरेडी है. एंड इफ यू गो ऑन फॉर अ प्रिडिक्शन फॉर डिफरेंट प्लेसेस ऑल्सो, जैसे अगर उसी डेटा को यूज करके तुम दूसरे एरियाज का प्रिडिक्ट करोगे स्लोप स्टेबिलिटी एंड सो ऑन, तो तुम्हें ऑलरेडी वो कम वैल्यूज मिलेंगी. एंड दैट्स बिकॉज हम लोगों को डेटा ही वही दिया गया है, राइट. एंड सो जब हम लोग इस तरीके की रिसर्च करते हैं या कोई भी चीज़ देखते हैं कि हम लोग डेटा एनालिसिस कर रहे हैं, कहीं से फील्ड का डेटा देख रहे हैं कुछ, तो वी हैव टू बी वेरी श्योर, वी हैव टू बी वेरी सर्टेन कि हो क्या रहा है, किस तरीके का डेटा है, क्या कंडीशंस हैं जिसमें लिया गया है. तो ये तो फन था थोड़ा सा. आई वॉज रीडिंग अबाउट इट फ्यू डेज बैक, तो मैंने कहा चलो तुम लोगों को भी दिखाऊंगा. बट एनीवेज इट्स ऑल्सो अ यूजफुल वे टू थिंक कि हम लोग एक्चुअली जो देखते हैं वो एक्चुअल में सही है कि नहीं. चलो, आई होप मज़ा आया. बट आज की क्लास वैसे भी हम लोग थोड़ी छोटी रखेंगे, तो दैट्स ओके. एंड लेट्स स्टार्ट फॉर टुडे देन. अभी भी 34 लोग ही हैं. चलो. So today we'll be continuing our discussion on rock slope technology in terms of geology and slope stability. हम लोग right now till now we have done some study on what kind of geological discontinuities are there and so on, and how they are performed, what are their properties, right? And we have also seen how they are plotted in terms of if we want to go on a field and plot them and get the records, so how they are plotted in stereographic projections, and how we can do some basic studies of probable types of failure in that sense by just seeing the orientation of discontinuities as well as orientation of the slope faces. So we have done that. Now we will be moving ahead with that, and we'll be seeing what are some of the methods or some of the techniques that are used when we are doing that slope stability analysis or the field analysis for getting the data for slope stabilization, right? So we'll be focusing on that. So for today, most of the things will be focused on some of the techniques that are done during the geological survey or the site surveys for slope stability analysis, right? Some basic field tools that are used, what are the purposes and how they basically convert the observation to the data that we want, right? And some other methods apart from direct field investigation, like some geophysical methods, some core logging methods, what are those and all. So we'll be keeping it short today, but just touching the surface ki kya kya hota hai. And we'll be moving ahead maybe tomorrow, maybe on Monday, we'll be moving ahead to the rock properties and the material properties, which concerns us more. So let's start. So when we plan for a field study, like any type of exploration we want to do, we have seen that, okay, this we want to judge that, okay, this is an open cast mine. We want to go for a field investigation there, what we have to see. When we go to the field, what we do, and so on. So there are many steps that are required to do and planning that is required. So in that sense, mostly the whole exercise of field investigation or this kind of analysis, when we go to a field, what to do and so on, goes in 3 stages. First one is reconnaissance, or some military terms we call RECO or something. So basically reconnaissance is understanding what is the data already available. So from satellite images, we can have a good look at today what is the area all about, what kind of topography is there, right? We can have old reports regarding that area. So suppose we have to investigate a slope whose stability we have to see, or we have to investigate an area where a possible slope we have to design, like maybe in a mine, open cast mine, we have to see which part of the open cast mine will have suitable slope conditions, or in a mountainous terrain, if we want to see what will be the site suitable for a road construction. So these kind of investigations basically require certain reconnaissance where what kind of data is available to. So satellite images are right now very easily available. So even just go for Google Maps, that gives us a good right 10 meter, I think, good resolution images also. If we want to go further, we can go for the reports that are available for the region, especially if there is a present construction or some activity that is going on nearby. Like for our mine cases, most of the cases there is, before even getting the mine leads or designing the mine, we get to have all the reports regarding that from GSI or geological reports. At least we have that. So we use those at least. Or if any site work has already been done and what are the data that they obtained, previous analysis that has been done. So reconnaissance basically is understanding the situation before actually doing the work. So commissions are there. We can go to the field and just see the situation that is there, but detailed observations are not made. So those kind of activities are done in reconnaissance part. Route selection, basically preliminary work that is done after based on the observations that we make from the reconnaissance. So where and at what points we will be seeing these observations, like geological observations that we want to see. Suppose in sense of slope in open cast mine, we want to see that site where we plan to design that slope, right? So which are the points of concern for us? If we want to design overburden or a dump slope, so what is the site for that, and what kind of material that we will have? We want to see those sites and we want to plan that out. That what will be the route, which path we have to follow. Now, the route doesn't only mean that what is the way we will follow and just come back to the site. It's like do understand that all the observations that you will make, those will be mapped, right? So when you try and decide the routes for investigation in terms of geological investigation, specifically if we talk about, so that route basically, if you are mapping, so you are trying to cover a two-dimensional area with respect to one-dimensional lines, right? So the selection of the route or the selection of how you will proceed with which location and what is the line and which you will proceed, basically that decides what kind of data you will get in a two-dimensional matrix. So that's why there can be many cross routes. Like for example, when we go for some investigations in mountainous terrain, where it is like virgin and not being touched till now, and we want to make new roads or new excavation have to be started, or even a new mine design that also requires for that. In those cases, we have to basically cover a large area, but physically we can only travel in certain allowable practical paths, right? So those are basically decided based on what kind of data and what kind of density of data that we want. in suppose a 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer mission, we can have a grid of 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. Or in mine cases, if it is like 100 by 100 meters, that's not a big deal. But 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, we can have few lines or few travel routes which may encompass around maybe 100 meters into 10, right? So that's why what kind of density of the data that we require, and which type of work or which type of investigation we want to do, that is basically the second step of deciding the route selection that is written here. Third set is the site investigation, the main investigation we do, what kind of instruments we use when we travel there, what all we want to observe. So all this is beforehand planned when we plan for these kind of missions, these kind of investigations. So when you visit a field, suppose you want to visit an open crust mine where you want to, let's suppose, make overburden dump or a waste dump. So what are the conditions that you require for a waste dump? So and if we just want to understand these three processes for a waste dump condition. So first will be what are the properties of that area, right? Reconnaissance, and I am talking about the first part. So in that we'll get all these details by the mines itself, because they have already the geological data of the region. Then what is the strength, what is that, all things can be obtained, and what kind of material that has to be done, right? How much material has to be done. All these details we can obtain from just the reconnaissance mission only. What is our part in the site investigation? Site investigation, we basically see 3-4 things in this case. Firstly, we see is the base or is the ground stable enough or sturdy enough to basically support the huge load of that overburden dump that will be there. First thing. Second thing is whether there are present problems or present issues nearby that a dumping area. If possibly a possible failure happens, then which are the structures that will be damaged? Is it very close to a local locality or a local settlement, or is it very close to mine offices, or some heavy equipment working, or any population center where some damage to life and property can happen? Then we also see go and see the material that will be dumped. What are its properties? How it will behave? Is it like a very flowy kind of material, or is it a sturdy or fragmented rock kind of material, and so on. So many things will be done, right? So that is just a small example for open this overburden dump. For our slope kind of a study, we will also see rock slope kind of a study. We will also see what are the jointing and geological problems, like discontinuities, their orientation, roughness, and weathering, and what all geological properties we have discussed, those things, right? We'll also see water conditions. Is there any problem of water there? Is there water seepage? And so many list of problems that we can actually chalk out and find out that, okay, these things we have to see. What is our vision in this? Our vision is basically to understand whatever things that will basically affect the slope stability, overall slope stability. All right. And in that and in different situations, those conditions change. For our overburden dump, we have little less things to worry about as compared to the natural slopes that are there, because that are man-made design slopes. So we can control certain features. We can control what will be the overall slope angle and slope height. We can control which place it has to be dumped in. But for natural slopes, we don't have this luxury, so we have to do what it is there, right? So in those cases, more detailed investigation has to be done. So in that sense, we basically plan these kind of field studies. So let's see what kind of geological studies can be done. So few things that we in general take care when we ask anyone to do a geological study, or we even when we are involved in a geological study, is to basically take care that there is no human bias. One thing, human bias, what that means is when you ask like 10 people to basically take same reading of the same location, uh, there. Am I disconnected?
Yes, sir.
Voice.
कहाँ तक सुना तुम लोगों ने?
It's a group of 10 people.
When did I get disconnected?
So the last statements were that if we assign a
अभी
certain
आवाज आ रहा है
task
सही?
to
बढ़िया.
yes,
Hold on. Let me get two things connected. Just a sec. Just a sec. So you can hear me now?
yes sir.
Sir, you are not audible.
Hello, hello. People can hear me?
Yes sir.
Hello. Hello. Students, Ari Avaj, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
सर सुनाई नहीं दे रहा.
सर लीव कर दिए.
Guys, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't know what has happened. Some serious internet issues. अभी सब लोग नहीं है ना? Calling. My God. अच्छा, the whole class was closed क्या?
No, sir.
No, all are connected. मेरे को कॉलिंग क्यों दिखा रहा है कि मोस्ट ऑफ इज कॉलिंग. एनीवेज,
But 34
But-
attendees are there. Presently.
सॉरी.
34 students are presently connected.
अच्छा, पांडव इज देयर. पांडव का भी कॉलिंग दिखा रहा है. पांडव, यू आर हियर?
Yes, sir.
तो फिर फालतू ये MS Teams is going crazy now.
So list होगा.
Anyway, इसको शेयर करना पड़ेगा. तो where did कहाँ पे बंद हुआ था? Till when did you hear? कहाँ तक सुना? Anyone?
So you said that there are 10 people who are assigned with the task of noting some data.
Right.
And then,
फिर तो काफी सुन लिया. Okay. ठीक है. So what I was saying was this was something related to human bias. So human bias basically is that the conventions we follow in monitoring, the conventions we follow in taking a data input, any readings, maybe 44.5, maybe 45 for me and 44 for the other person. Maybe 44, like 2.81 is 2.8 for me and 2.81 for another one. So there are many things that basically when cumulatively they keep on coming, and especially in case of a large data collection scheme, like when we are going for like hundreds and hundreds of data collections. So if we ask especially when we are doing for a certain field, especially considering slope stability analysis, we generally prefer only either one person or one set of group that is doing that kind of analysis also does the complete analysis. Why? Because these kind of bias is there. That is called human bias. And that's why these sensitive things generally are kept for one group only, because that bias gets cancelled when only one person or one group is taking readings, while it can be basically coupled up if many errors are there. So that we take care, and we also take care that if any existing slopes or existing man-made works are there, so as we saw in reconnaissance, data will be available. And if new area is there that has not been explored, so their extensive mapping we will do. Here also you can see some examples where how they are taking the orientation of the joints they are seeing, right? They are seeing the spacing in this case, and he's using basically a hammer to break the rock pieces and see what are the what are the actual angles. Many type of actual geological works take place, and so what we'll do is we'll just see which kind of few stuffs that happen when a geological investigation take place. Okay, so some of the tools that are usually used, hammers, chisels, compass, important tool for the clinometers. You're aware that inclination and declination measurements are done by clinometer. Lenses, measure tape, GPS, all these things are there. There are so many standards that have been developed, and based on there is a Society of Indian Society of Optics, heard, right? There has been geological survey societies and so on. So all these observations, geological mapping, and all these are like highly standardized, and based on various number of data sets and number of field observations, many of the uh, rule of thumbs or numerical relations basically have been developed. Even when a geologist goes to a field investigation, he can actually convert the data that he obtains from is just by hitting a hammer on the rock to a strength condition, and that's a viable way to basically get a very rough estimate how strong a rock is. Obviously, when we talk about our rock mechanics kind of scenario, we don't rely on these readings. In our cases,
सर वॉइस फ्लक्चुएट हो रही है,
voice नहीं आ रही है.
वॉइस फ्लक्चुएट हो रही है, कभी आ रही है कभी नहीं आ रही है, कुछ इंटरनेट इशू है सर लगता है आपका.
जबरदस्त है. काम करता हूँ मैं. अच्छा, इस समय वॉइस फ्लक्चुएट हो रही है. व्हेन आई टॉक कंटिन्यूअसली इट इज इट ओके? अभी मैंने बोला है
स्टार्टिंग में सही थी, फिर लास्ट में थोड़ी सी से
ब्रेक हो रही है. ब्रेक हो रहा है. दूसरा वाला कनेक्ट करके देखें.
ये भी सुनाई नहीं दे रहा.
ये भी सुनाई नहीं दे रहा. ओके, वेट. ये कैसा है? हाउ इज दिस?
दिस इज गुड सर.
This is better.
Yes sir.
If I say a continuous sentence or a long sentence, you can hear it properly. There is no break.
No sir, it's fine.
ठीक है. लेकिन ये सबसे ज़्यादा अनरिलायबल है इंडिया अपना NIT का. अभी पूरा बैठ गया था. But anyway, so let's continue in this then. So we were talking about how there are certain estimations that are made when we do a geological site investigation. So even for them, they have certain tables, certain tablets that basically converts tabloids that can convert what they observe into what they actually what it can actually refer to. So like many sets of data basically have seen. So like these are the physical observations that go on, like starting from just you can press the material with your hand or thumb, or you have to basically put it with thumbnail, or you have to basically crumble under blows, or you can scratch it with pocket knife. You can require some more than one blow of geological hammer to fracture it, or not at all fractured at all. So all this, though this area is all subjective, full, it has been basically converted into an objective data by a set of observations. All these of what was observed in the field and what was it found in the labs. Though we can have these estimates, we cannot rely on those totally, but some very basic investigations can be actually thought to be done by these conditions. So many times what happens is when we get these kind of data, geological data, we have only that geological data like this, like the visit was done by this guys, and they observed that the rock is being by two hammer blows, it is breaking. The rock is breaking. These kind of roughness is there. A photo will be given of the rock. This kind of joints have been observed, and so on. There is no lab investigation. So in those cases, generally, even though it is not exactly correct, but in those cases, our most reliable estimate to this case will be on these kind of relationships. So these relationships, like from S1, S2, S3, S4, these are soil types, and then from R0 to R6, these are basically based on many data sets that have been analyzed and seen. So not exactly reliable, but a good estimate if we don't have any other data. So these kind of things we can get from the field. This we have already seen how different orientations, different parameters of the joints and joint sets can be actually understood. Spacing, discontinuity, or spacing of discontinuity, orientation like dip, dip angle, persistence, all these kind of angular and physical length measurements can be actually done. And generally tools that are used are a good Burton compass. So this compass is actually very nice. If you have an opportunity to visit sometimes the geological section here, they have this, and this can actually work. This also has a clinometer inbuilt inside. This can actually work to find out what is the bedding angle and all by orienting it along the rock as well. So not just doing the work of compass, but also other things. So it's a good thing to have as a geological tool. Not very much required, but a good gadget to have. And other things we already have discussed, so we won't be going very much into this. Spacing, yes, one of the things that we have already discussed how they are important. One thing is there when we observe in the field that the spacing that will be apparent and the spacing that will be real will have some difference. Like for example, in this example as well, we saw last time that even though these joint sets have certain spacing, what we observe on the side, maybe this is the exposed area, will be quite different, right? So that we have to basically make changes based on other readings of dip angle and strike, right? So if we know it's a strike and if we know it's dip, we can actually correct the spacing, apparent spacing to the real spacing. This kind of corrections were suggested by Terzaghi. So that's why I don't know if you noticed last time, yesterday, what we were working with this app called Dips, right? So in that also there was something called a Terzaghi correction, and that was this only. If we give them spacing readings and we have the dip and dip directions, so it basically corrects those apparent spacing into real spacing values. So that's a small thing about spacing wanted to see. Weathering is again an important thing to see what kind of weathering is there. And again, this can be divided into grades, or the weathering condition can be divided into what kind of weathering it is there. And based on just the physical observation, again, you do understand these are all subjective conditions. For me, more than half of the rock material is decomposed. Can be very different for me, or it can be very different for Indrajit. So different persons take different assumptions, right? And that's why I see the subjectiveness of this study makes it very susceptible to basically change or error when multiple people do this analysis. So that's why the first point that we discussed was, when we do these kind of analysis, we prefer that either one person or one group only does, because they assume they take certain fixed assumptions assumptions will continue for all type of observations that we can make, right? This was weathering. So also, if you want to see what kind of weathering is there, we can convert it into grade. And this basically type of weathering that is there, that will be useful when we calculate the when we do the Hook and Brown failure analysis. And in that time, we use this weathering condition as well. Then there is roughness. We were talking about roughness once, how the joint roughness is very important. But in field, how it is measured is very interesting. Practically, it is very difficult to judge how rough a surface is. In terms of remote sensing, I was going through some of the readings, and they basically gave a relationship that it should be certain. The roughness basically also changes. They were saying based on what kind of wavelength we are using for seeing that data. Like for them in remote sensing, when they observe a part or observe a section of the earth or section of the ground, uh, the section of the ground will be rough for maybe visible region. It may not be that rough for the ultraviolet region. It may not at all be rough for the microwave region. So for them, it was something like based on wavelength. For us, it was also a function of how physically it is. And in order to do that in the field, the geologists use something called profilometer or a roughness comb. So basically, it is like a we had some when we were small, we used to have that game, right, where we used to put our hand and there was a print of the hand on the other side. So all the concept is same, but it's only doing that in one dimension. So it basically takes the profile of the rock. There are like 1 millimeter thin these wedges, or you can say the needles that are there, and these can move just in up and down direction. So they basically take the profile of that, and that profile is used to basically measure how rough this is. And how we decide that, there are two ways in which that can be done. There are some empirical relations. So based on what kind of difference it is there, either it is or hi guys, can you hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? वो नहीं करना, लेकिन मैं डिस्कनेक्ट भी नहीं कर सकता. What to do? It's breaking, right? Voice is breaking very much now. You can't grasp it. So तो एक काम करते हैं फिर, रुकते हैं, देन अभी वैसे ही टाइम हो रहा है, यू वोंट टेक इट फर्दर देन ये वाला काम फिर वी विल डू इट ऑन मंडे।
सर अब सुनाई दे रहा है?
बिल्कुल आवाज नहीं आ रही?
सर ब्रेक हो रही है बीच बीच में।
मैसेज करता हूँ। It's also connecting and disconnecting. So what we will do is we can close the class for now. And we will resume on Monday. ठीक है? I can't help it right now. I have tried other ways, but it's not connecting. So yeah. Anyone has any questions they can ask if I can hear and you can hear. Otherwise we'll close. We won't carry on ahead. Monday को करते हैं, ठीक है? Goodbye, guys. Thank you. I'm sorry for this.